All right guys, so the next step we're going to jump into with this bow build is I'm actually going to get my peep sight installed and put in there. Me personally, I like to put my peeps in before I do any tuning. I don't know why, it's just kind of something I've always done. So we're going to go ahead and jump into doing that first. So all we're going to do here is just throw the bow in the press real quick. Just get the tension off. You see obviously the string went limp now. So now as you can see right now, I do have my peeps angling fairly good about where we want it. I don't know if you can tell the camera there, but my loop is way off. It's actually pointing straight at me. I do know just from prior experience that my peep's probably fairly close to the location it's going to end up being by the time we're done with this. So what I'm actually going to do is just walk my loop around so you can just kind of push on your knots and actually spin this just a little bit on the serving, kind of get things a little bit closer. Once we get everything tied in, things are going to change just a little bit more, so I'll have to go back and kind of hit on that. So, but for now, I'm going to bump out of the press and we're actually going to draw back the bow and get the peep sight set. All right, so we're going to go ahead and draw back the bow and get our peep sight set. Obviously, for safety's sake, I do have an arrow knocked. So one big thing that I see a lot of guys do on their bows, you can have like the most perfectly tuned bow in the world, and if your peep sight's off and you're having to adjust your form to accommodate for that, your bow's not going to shoot very good. So one big thing is we do want to make sure that my peep sight is naturally exactly where I want it. So the best way to do that is for you to actually draw back your bow, close your eyes, hit your anchor point and get comfortable. And essentially what we're looking for is when you do open your eyes, you should be looking exactly through your peep. If it's a situation where you open your eyes and you're noticing you're having to kind of look up or you're having to crouch down to get into your peep, that's a situation that we need to remedy. So again, I'm just going to, real simple, draw back the bow, come back to full draw. Once I'm there, I'm going to have Chris come in and actually adjust my peep, just either up or down to match my sight housing. It's actually perfect right there. All right, so this is one of the rare occasions where I actually guessed my peep right in the exact same spot that I needed it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to jump back over to our bow vise over here. We're going to get it clamped in. We're going to tie our peep in. So we got my bow back in the vise. Peep sight, like you just saw, is set right where I want it. So first step I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take a black Sharpie and just mark the location of the peep on the string. This can give me a couple different things. Number one, it's going to allow me to kind of see my starting point. So if I do happen to move anything down the road, I'm going to kind of tell exactly where I started at. But number two, a lot of times as you're tying these, if you start getting them too tight or you start getting your serving down too close to the peep, it will want to cause your peep to want to walk and move down the string, which obviously now we're in an incorrect position. So that just kind of serves as a visual aid as I'm tying in my peep to ensure that everything's staying right where I want it. So we're just going to jump into this. We're going to grab 2.5 foot section of serving here. Cut that off. So to start the peep, what I like to do is I actually don't use any knots to start it at all. I'm just going to use the tension of the string. So I'm just going to take my tag in and I'm going to move it just through this V notch. You can see obviously where the string is split. Move it through there, and just pull it up into the string, and now it's tight in location. So what I like to do with my wraps is I'm going to start approximately about an inch above the peep. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take the short tag into serving and I'm going to lay that vertically down the string. I'm going to take my long piece and I'm just going to begin to wrap around that. You want consecutive wraps, you want real tight wraps, you don't want to see any string material showing through the serving. So I'm going to take and put about 4 or 5 turns on there, and then you just want to cinch it down. And then same process, we're going to throw another 4 or 5 turns in there and cinch it. And I'll do this for 3 or 4 cycles here. Now, after I've got a dozen to 15 wraps or so, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this tag in and we're going to hold it straight up now and we're going to wrap underneath it. So what that's going to do now, it's going to lock this in place. It got it out of our way for any future tying now, and we can trim that off once we get down to the end of the peep. So again, another 4 or 5 wraps, tighten it down. So now what I'm going to do when I'm 3/8 of an inch or so above the peep is I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to go back through the V notch again where the string is split. And wrap that through. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to wrap down just this one side of the string until we hit the peep. These will add some spacing to it, approximately 1/16 of an inch between wraps. These aren't drastically important to keep super tight together. Now once you reach your peep, what we can actually do is we can come underneath it and then pull back up, and what that'll do is it'll pop the string, my serving thread here, right in between the bowstring and the peep, and it'll kind of pinch it in place and it locks it in there. So now what I can do at this point is I can come in and actually wrap physically around the Peep and the string itself, which is going to lock everything in real nice. So on those I usually do about 3 wraps. Again, just cinch it tight, and then again we're going to pull back through that V and lock our string and our serving back together on the other side of the Peep. Now the same thing here, we're just going to simply walk the serving down the opposite side of the string. And once you wrap about that 3/8 of an inch distance, then we'll actually go back to going around the entire string again. On this first set of wraps, what you want to do is get your 5 loose wraps in there, and I'll actually take my thumbnail and I'll slide the serving up the string as I'm cinching it. What that'll allow it to do is really close in that bottom V. So again, we'll take another 4 or 5 loops here. Cinch everything down. At this point, I'm just going to take a couple. And now we're going to do our finishing knot. So this knot is a little bit confusing to start with. It's a very simple knot to do. Once you do it a couple times, you get the hang of it pretty quick, but on video it's going to look very confusing. So I will try to explain it as best I can. So what we're going to do currently right now, the serving is coming off the side of the string closest to you guys, the viewers. I'm just going to make a loop, and I'm going to take my tag end around the opposite side. So again, we're coming off the wall side of the string. Now all I'm going to do is just take this tag end and I'm going to begin to wrap up through this loop. I usually do this 7 to 9 times. Sometimes I don't count, you just kind of throw some loops in there. So we'll get that through. And all I'm going to do, just get this out of the way, I'm just going to take my tag in. I usually just loop it up over my axle just to get it out of the way. Now what I can do with this existing loop that I've created now is I'm going to begin to back wrap all of this back over my tag end. So we'll do the 8 or 9 revolutions that we wrapped into it until we've got everything wrapped. And again, we'll just slide the serving back up towards the Peep, hold it in place, and I take my loose end and just pull it tight. What you can even do if you'd like this to cinch down a little bit tighter is take your Allen wrench and just wrap your tag end on there and pull it tight. And we'll just come in with a knife after this. Obviously be careful you're not nicking your string. Cut your tag ends, and we'll burn them as needed. So now we have a perfectly tied in Peep. With this tying method, Peep will not spin on the string. Everything's going to stay tight. It's never going to move on us, and we're going to be good to go for the rest of the season. If you guys have any questions on this process, again, like I said, it can be a little bit confusing. Be sure to drop any questions down below. Make sure to hit you guys on that. Also, if you have any questions on any of the product that you see in this whole series. Stay tuned. The next step, we're going to jump into actually tuning this bow. And if you guys like what you're seeing, obviously hit the subscribe button. That'd be a huge help for us, and it's going to let you know when we have any new videos coming out.